Like, Elizabeth Swann would never let men treat her like this. Hi, my name is Paige. Welcome to my reading vlog. If you hear that rattling sound, I'm so sorry. It is my AC. I cannot get it to turn off, but we're just gonna roll with it. So this week we are going to be reading, or hopefully completing, books that I accidentally DNF'd. And by accidentally DNF'd, I mean I was reading them, I was enjoying them well enough, and then I put them down and never picked them back up again. So it wasn't like an active choice to not finish the book. I just completely forgot I was reading them and read other things. So I have 2 books in mind for this, as well as one other book that I'm considering including in this vlog if I can fit it in. So the first book that I accidentally DNF'd was Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This is a graphic novel, and I DNF'd this one basically because I did not understand the history that was going on in this book. I wanted to put it down and I wanted to research a little bit about it before I continued reading it and trying to finish it, but I got over halfway. You can see where I like put the little flap of the book, and I just set it down and I had the intention to go and read about the history of this situation so that I would know what's going on. So even currently as I'm speaking about this, I don't know enough to tell you the summary of it. When I am going to read this in the vlog, I am going to take the time to research what this is about so that I can then connect what I've learned through research and understand this story a lot more. So before I read this, I will end up giving you a summary and let you know my thoughts on it. But yeah, that is why I DNF'd this one. My next one was Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. You can see where my bookmark is, maybe like about, I would say, a fourth of the way through this one. This was about a woman whose father, I believe, was a pirate, and he ends up getting killed early on in the beginning, and then I think she became a pirate, and she had her ex-boyfriend, ex-fiance, ex-husband maybe, is another pirate, and that's all I can remember about this one. Again, I will give you a better synopsis right before I start reading this one, but I basically got a quarter of the way through and I honestly wasn't loving this a lot. I was enjoying it enough. It was keeping my attention for a little while, but I was just reading it physically, and I ended up setting it down and picked up another book and read that one, and then I read another one, and then I read another one, and then before long I had forgotten what I had read. So I did find the audiobook for this one, and I am going to listen to the audiobook while I'm at work, and I think I'll be able to get through it much faster. And I guess we'll see if I end up actually DNFing this one, because it is like an enemies to lovers, I believe, and I am not the biggest fan of that trope. So this is what I'm going to start the week with, and then I'll try and read Persepolis later on. One more book option I have is The Guncle. Okay, there you can see the screen. Yeah, it's called The Guncle. It's by Stephen Rowley. I actually got this as an ARC on NetGalley like a year and a half ago, and I started reading it, and I just remember that the main character was being super selfish about the way he was grieving, and I can't remember if he had lost his sister or if she was dying from cancer, and I just didn't enjoy his selfishness at that point. And I had been either going through my grandma's death or she had just gotten diagnosed with cancer, and so I couldn't empathize with him at all. And I think I only got about a chapter and a half in and set it down, told myself I'd come back to it, and never did. So that is my third option. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that one because I don't have an Audible credit yet, and I don't know if I want to buy a credit just to get it on Audible. So I'm considering reading that. I do know for sure Persepolis and Sea of Ruin will be in this vlog, and I also think I'm going to add in the Dnf tag at the end of this. But if you would like to see me attempt to read some books that I DNF and learn about the history of Persepolis, then go ahead and continue this vlog, and I will see you in the next clip when I start Sea of Ruin. Good morning. So I am almost ready for work, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be reading Sea of Ruin today through audiobook while I am working. I think I could get through this book today, but I am going to break it up into 2, maybe 3 days, because I have a video I need to edit tonight and go out tomorrow, and that's going to take me a very long time. So this is what I am going to be reading today. I just know that it's a pirate romance and that the pirates are kind of terrible people, because I mean, historically I think pirates actually were kind of terrible people. They were not Captain Jack Sparrow, let's just say that. But this is the first one. I've already gotten 100 pages through before, so I think I'm going to reread that beginning bit at like 3 times speed and then move on, but I need to go pack up my lunch and go to work, so I will check in with you very shortly. Hello. So, did I say I was going to take 2 days to finish Sea of Ruin? Yes. Did I finish it all at work? Also yes. So, here's what happened. I decided that because I had already read about 100 or so pages, I think I took the bookmark out, I was at page 124 when I had accidentally DNF'd. So I decided that I would just listen to that first 100 or so pages on 3 times speed, or as close to 3 times speed as I could with the audiobook to still follow along. So I ended up reading at 2.6 speed, and by the time I got to the point where I didn't know what was going on and it was past what I had already read, I could not go down much further. So I dropped it down to 2.3 and I was still able to understand everything pretty perfectly. So I decided to go ahead and listen to it at that speed, which meant I was able to finish it during my entire work day. That being said, I could have still DNF'd this one. This was one of those ones that I just wanted to see it through because I'd already DNF'd it. I was also vlogging and I just wanted to know if one prediction that I had for the book that I had from the very first time I had read it still held up, because I still believed it to my core that that was going to be what the big twist and reveal was, and I was correct. So I feel satisfied in that, but other than that, I would not recommend this book to anybody other than people who are very, 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 very interested in dark romances. Without giving too many spoilers, just at the very beginning, like the first couple of chapters, we have our young girl who is 14 years old. Her name is Bennett, and in the first couple of chapters she gets sexually assaulted. She witnesses her father, who is a pirate, being hanged for piracy, and her mother throwing herself off a cliff out of grief. And that's all just in the first chapter. She also kills the man who tries to sexually assault her, and it's just like from the get-go very traumatic. And then we get on into her being 21 years old, and there are 2 males in this book. The first male, his name is Priest, and he is very angry and rude and like doesn't let her speak out very much. And then we meet the other man, Ashley, who consent, he's never heard of it. He's never heard of that word before, ever. And it was a lot of that going on, where both of these men felt like they knew what was best and they talked over her and they did things to her that she wasn't consenting to. And even though her inner monologue sometimes was in agreement with the things that they did because she wanted both of them during her times when she was with both of them, it just didn't feel consensual whatsoever. And by the end of it, you kind of, or at least I felt like those things that they had done were just all looked over and she forgave them for everything. And it just didn't feel like she was the type of character that she thought she was. So she is basically this like pirate captain, and she's the daughter of like one of the most feared pirates, and she doesn't act like it. She has the tendency to just like let men speak over her, and as somebody who's like a pirate captain of 120 pirates, instills fear amongst a bunch of people. Like, she wasn't very fearsome. She was very timid and demure, and it could have been so much more. Like, I think I had seen on TikTok once that somebody had put Elizabeth Swann from Pirates of the Caribbean as their like fan cast for Bennett, and like Elizabeth Swann would never let men treat her like this, would never stand for it. And okay, this is where I'm gonna get into some spoilers because I just want to talk about some things in this. So our main character Bennett, she at first is like very fearful of this one pirate named Priest who I had brought up, and we are very early on revealed that they had gotten married, and I believe the night of their wedding or like not long after their wedding, she had found a letter that was addressed to Priest that revealed that he had cheated on her, and she was completely heartbroken because she thought that he was a much better man than that. So she abandons him and just leaves him, and he hunts her down after 2 years. And then she eventually gets, was she kidnapped? I can't remember how. Ashley, the other pirate hunter man, acquires her, but she goes into Ashley's custody, and he, again, doesn't know consent, uses her body, and does terrible, awful things. But there is this like undercurrent of maybe Ashley knew Priest, and you end up finding out that they were the ones who had been lovers. And I feel like the author wasn't comfortable saying that these men were bisexual, and I know that like not everybody needs to have a label, so maybe that was the intent in it, but it just felt like she tried to write it off like, oh, they were two young teenagers who sexually experimented with each other, but they grew like a really strong deep friendship, and their love is platonic, but they need each other like a little bit more than lovers, but they love her. They don't like, they're not in love with each other, they're in love with Bennett, when it all comes together at the end, because they all three end up together at the end. So I just kind of wish that there would have been that, like, I guess label where they acknowledge that like, okay, maybe we are in love with Bennett, but we are also in love with each other. And it was just kind of like, no, they're best friends who like still want to kiss and like still want to sleep together. So that was something that also bothered me, beyond all of the rape and murder and torture and mistreatment of women and verbal abuse that these men bestowed on her. Yeah, so I would not recommend this one. It has its problems, but if you are into dark romances and you like toxic relationships in stories, because sometimes they can be entertaining, then go ahead and read it. It has pirates, it's very atmospheric in the pirate world, and I now want to go find pirate fanfiction, but not about this book. So I probably should have DNF'd this one again, but we saw it through. It is finally off my shelves. I mean, I'll probably put it actually on my physical shelf, but it's not on my TBR shelf anymore. All right, I guess I will see you for my next read. I need to eat dinner and edit because I have a video going on tomorrow and I need to work on that. So yeah, see you in a second. This is a book that I read right at the start of quarantine. Okay, so I'm not even sure how long this vlog is going to be, but I have book mail and I figured we can open it in this vlog. I already know what this is. I feel like there was a better way to open that, but this is a pre-order of a book that I have been anticipating for a very long time, which is Heatwave by TJ Klune. It is the third in the Extraordinary series, and I cannot wait to dive into this one, but it is a lot smaller than I expected it to be. But look at how pretty. I love these colors right now. And it has a reversible dust jacket. Look at that. The truth. What does that mean? I love that. It's so cute. And the hardcover itself is yellow. Very bright and happy. But yeah, that's all the mail that I have. I've been waiting on this book for a while. I ordered books from Barnes & Noble a couple of months ago, and because this was a pre-order I had to wait until it came out, but it is now here, it is in my hands, and it will be months until I probably read this one. I always look like a 2000s like skater boy when my hair is drying because my bangs dry so funny. But anyway, today is Saturday and I have a lot of stuff to do. I want to read Persepolis sometime today, and before I do that, I want to like look up the history of it and figure out what was going on, and then I'm gonna restart it and try and finish about half of it today, so get to about where I was when I accidentally DNF'd it, and then I'm going to try and finish it out tomorrow. I'm also going to my friend's store because she's gonna be closing down, so she's selling all of her stuff, and I said that I could come over and help and just hang out with her as she goes through a lot of her stuff. So I might take you along to the store one last time, and then I have a couple of other videos I need to film today, and I just feel a little busy this weekend, but I do need to finish this weekend so that I can get this vlog out in the next couple of weeks. There's just a lot going on, and I feel like I'm running out of time, and it's not even 10:30 in the morning yet. So all right, I will check in with you in a little bit.
Here are some of the key dates that led to the revolution.
So today we're going to talk about Iran, and just Iran, specifically the 1979 Iranian Revolution.
Okay, I have to get ready, and I figured I would just give like a brief summary of what I've been learning so far. I don't feel like I have a total solid grasp on everything that happened, but through the videos that I watched and the Wikipedia page that I have read so far, that's all I've had time for. What I have learned is that in Iran, they had like a monarch who they called the Shah, and he was pretty close to the president and everything in America, and then the government in the UK, I believe, and he got really rich off of the money that he got from selling oil to all of the countries. And he tried to like establish more westernized things within Iran, and for a little while it was going pretty well, and they were making quite a lot of money off of the oil, and I guess they like built a new working middle class, and things seemed to be going well. And then he ended up starting to keep a lot more of the money for himself, and everything that he chose to do was like law, so he never really had to vote for or have the people vote for anything. He just kind of put everything that he wanted into place, and that was like total law for them. So I am understanding that in Islam they didn't think that westernized ideals would work for their country, or they didn't want that happening. They wanted more of an Islamic government. And so some other man, who I cannot think of his name right now, he became like their spokesperson for this revolution, and it was a lot of students and people who were being ill affected by all of this oil money and everything that had been changing in Iran, who wanted better lives for themselves. So they wanted a government who would work for them and allow them more of a say. So they decided to protest and do all the things that people do during a revolution, and eventually the Shah left the country and never came back, and this other person ended up taking power. I look very silly doing this right now as I'm speaking, but that is so far what I am understanding. I still feel like I have a lot to learn about this situation, so I'm going to try and read more, but as you can see, I do need to get ready right now and then go to the store. So I'm going to finish getting ready, I'm going to go to the store, see if I'm going to actually hang out or do anything else, and if I do get to come home tonight before late or before dinner time, I'm going to continue watching videos, reading a few articles, and then I'll start Persepolis. So I will see you in a little bit. I'm gonna continue putting on makeup. I guess I can show you that. Time lapse starting now. I think I've been blurry this entire time, so am I actually going to make this a time lapse? Who knows? I guess you'll see. Or maybe you won't because it's blurry. I just spilled this coffee all over my leather couch and all down my leg. Lovely. I might have just like ruined my couch forever. But I've like wiped it up with water because I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. I don't want to put any like soaps or anything on this couch. So if anyone has a tip for how to clean leather, please let me know. That wasn't cool. I didn't have much coffee left either, but like that really wasn't cool. Okay, here's the look for the day. A t-shirt, a Harley t-shirt with a wolf on it that I got from my friend's store. A black skirt that I got from Goodwill that is totally sheer and see-through. So we'll see how that goes. And then some Converse. I know that this would look probably a lot better with boots, but I'm already wearing enough black, and it's 100 and something degrees today, and it's summer. I don't think I need to wear black boots as well. So this is what we're going to wear. I'm going to go pick up Salad and Go for lunch, and then I will be at the store for a little while. I'm like, yeah. Right now, I guess there's I guess. Yeah. Sure. So I have made it to the halfway point, right where I had first DNF'd it, and it is making far more sense now that I have a little bit of history. I still am a little confused on certain aspects, and I think it's just like different leaders and people that are mentioned in this that I did not hear in any of those videos or articles that I read. So there are just a few things that I'm a little uncertain on, but I am understanding this far more than the first time. So essentially this is about a young girl, and I believe it's Marjane Satrapi's like own personal story, where she was 10 years old when this revolution happened, and her parents and her family members were on the side of the revolution, and she was just a really young girl and very devout in her own faith, and it's just like her perspective of what happened and her misunderstandings of the things going on during that time. And after the revolution went about and the revolutionaries won and the Shah had been exiled, now we're at the point where they're kind of dealing with the aftermath of the revolution, and a lot of the people who were spies or who had been arrested as revolutionaries are somehow being targeted. I'm not understanding why they're now the ones that are in trouble, because they were the ones who helped make the revolution happen, but her family and like friends of family are in danger, and it's kind of her family right now toying with if they're going to stay in Iran or if they're going to move. Like some of her other family members have fled to the US. Like I said, it's making more sense. I'm not fully solid on everything that's happening, but I think it's just like her perspective of this revolution and how her parents' ideals impacted her own ideals and what she believed was going on. And she is very naive throughout a lot of this, so she has kind of blind faith in what her friends tell her or what her parents tell her or what her uncle tells her. And I like that aspect to it, where it's just like a young girl who doesn't know a lot about the world and is stuck in the middle of a whole movement. I am much more intrigued in it this time because things make more sense, but I'm going to stop right here for right now. I'm going to go cook some dinner. I think I'm going to make some spicy noodles, and then we'll attempt to read a little bit more. I don't have the plan to finish this tonight just because I kind of want to watch some TV. I haven't watched TV in a while, and I also need to check in if our Discord is going to do a movie night. So I will take you along for dinner. I will read a little bit more, and yeah, let's do that. So as you just saw, I just made some noodles. It was based on a TikTok recipe that went viral like last year with like TikTok ramen noodles, and I just switched up a few ingredients to make it taste how I wanted it to. And usually if I have like leftover chicken or pork, I'll add that in with some broccoli, but my grandpa ate all of the pork chops and I didn't have broccoli, so we're just doing plain noodles tonight, and I'm excited to eat them. They're probably way too hot for me to take a bite right now, but I'm going to eat these and watch some YouTube probably. But update on my couch, it is completely dry. It looks a little discolored, but not too bad, so it's good enough. Whatever. I am the only person who ever is in my room sitting on my couch, so I don't think anyone else will notice, but it was mostly cleaned up. Crisis was mostly averted, but I'm gonna eat. Good stuff. Very salty though. Ooh. Chicken and broccoli really balances out the salt. I need some water. the ending is very sad. I can't say that I still like 100% fully understood everything, but overall this is really just a story about a young girl who grew up in this time and how her and her family are impacted by something that they had thought that they wanted, and then in having succeeded in this revolution, like their lives not turning out the way that they had thought it would when they were a part of the revolution. So it really was like the government lying about what it was going to give the people and then turning around and like forcing certain beliefs onto all of the people and the dangers that came afterward. So it was a very good story. The ending made me very, very sad. Yeah, I'm gonna go sit on this for a little bit, maybe watch some TV, and I will see you when I do the Dnf tag, which I'm gonna film tomorrow morning, I think. So I meant to get some b-roll of the fact that it was so rainy today that I was playing Sims all morning long and that me and my cousin went to the movies to watch Thor, but I didn't get any b-roll. So yeah, I'm just telling, not showing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get better about that. But I do have dinner with me and I need to wrap up this vlog, and I wanted to wrap it up with the Dnf book tag because I thought it would be really fun, and I was tagged by Rana to do this. Let me check. In October of 2020 I was tagged to do this, so I am very far behind on my tags. If you haven't seen my Answers Can't Be book tag, I just did that and posted that a couple days ago before you're seeing this, I believe, if I have my timelines correct. So we're gonna do the Dnf tag and then we're going to wrap up this vlog and I'm gonna eat my Chipotle. So that is my incentive to get this tag done. Question number 1 is, do you DNF? And in 2020 my answer would have been no, but now yes, I do DNF. It is something I'm actually striving to do more of because there are so many books that I have pushed through and gotten to the end and gave it like 1 star or 2 star. And I just don't want to be that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to read a book that I absolutely hate. There are some books that I will like enjoy the writing enough but hate the aspects of it, like The Hating Game. That's why I didn't DNF that one, but I'm really trying to just no longer force myself to push through books. So yes, I do DNF. Number 2 is, if you DNF a book, does it count towards books read for the month? And I do not count it as a book read because I don't really know. I think if you get to like the 50% mark, I think you can count it as read. So maybe I would if I got there, but usually I DNF about 25% of the way through. So I haven't really had that problem come up where I've had to decide if I'm going to count it as read because I hit like at least 50%. In my mind it makes sense to count it as read then, but for like my Goodreads goal I don't count it towards that. I wouldn't move it into my read category. I made a separate shelf for DNF books, so I don't count them, but maybe if I had read most of it then I would. Number 3 is there a difference between DNFing and just putting it down for a bit? And I think from this vlog you can see, to me, yes there is. I had accidentally DNF'd both these books and my intent was to finish them, and it wasn't because I really disliked it. Especially with Persepolis, I just wanted to know more about the history of what was going on just so I could give it its best chance. So I do think that there is a difference. DNFing is more so to me when you really dislike a book, you dislike the characters, you dislike the writing style, you're just not meshing with it at all, and just setting it down for a little bit means that like it's not holding your interest now, but you know yourself enough to know that that's a book that you would want to come back to eventually. Number 4 is, what popular book have you DNF'd? And oh, Lost in the Neverwoods, I DNF'd that one. I got maybe a quarter of the way through and I was just not a fan of the characters. I didn't like Wendy. I just thought it felt off somehow and I knew that I wasn't going to like it, so I did DNF that one, and I think that's probably the only popular book that I've DNF'd. Let me check. Oh yeah, another one that is really popular is All the Light We Cannot See. I think I made it to like page 30 and then DNF'd it. Twice I had DNF'd it. I tried the first chapter when I first got the book, didn't really vibe with it, and then the second time I read it I knew that it wasn't going to be for me because of the writing style. I just wasn't clicking with it. Number 5 is, what book do you wish you would have DNF'd? And I have 2 answers for this one. The first one is Legend by Marie Lu. I read that in 2020 and everyone had promised that it was like a Hunger Games, Divergent type story, and those had been books that I had loved, so when I came back into reading I thought that I would just fall in love with it, and I hated it. I gave it 1 star. I did not like the choices that the characters were making. I didn't like how the characters were written. I didn't like who was killed off. I had a really hard time with it, but I wasn't DNFing books in 2020, so I did push through that one, and I wish that I didn't. And another one I wish I DNF'd was More Than This by Patrick Ness. I had heard so many people say that they loved Patrick Ness's writing, so I tried this one out because it seemed to be amongst the genre and tropes that I would have liked, but I hated it. The like twist that happens in it made me so angry, and I can't say more than that because I feel like I would spoil the entire book, but it was so bad. So bad. It like still haunts me to this day how bad that book was. So I wish I would have DNF'd both of those books. Number 6 is, do you ever re-attempt to read a DNF? And I think this vlog is answer enough. Yes, I will try to reread some of the books that I have DNF'd, as long as it was more like a soft DNF, or I set it down knowing that it wasn't the vibe for now and I'll come back to it. Like there is another book by Patrick Ness that I did DNF again. I've DNF'd 2 of his books, and this one was called, oh my gosh, The Rest of Us Just Live Here. And I was just in a bad mood that day. That was the day I DNF'd Lost in the Neverwoods and All the Light We Cannot See, and I just feel like I might enjoy it because I was reading some of my friends' reviews and they really liked it. I could come back to that one, but yes, I do come back to ones that sit there and stare at me and tell me that they know I will like it. Number 7 is, what do you do with the books that you DNF? And currently they are just sitting on a shelf right now, waiting to be unhauled. I want to go and do a little free library tour with my mom. We had a really fun time doing that last year. I have a vlog on that. It might have been 2 years ago actually. But I do have a vlog of us going around and dropping off books, finding a bunch of new books, and I would just really want to do that again. It's just so hot outside and we got sunburnt last time, so I'm waiting on that for a little bit. So they're just on a small little bookshelf that I have by my door. Number 8 is, do you choose more or less risky titles because of your stance on DNFing? And I think I try to read the synopsises of every book before I buy them, unless I go into like a frenzy of just wanting to buy every single book that I've heard of. So it really depends. I don't want to buy books that I'm going to DNF because I don't like that feeling of wasting my money on a book that I owned. So kinda, I want to hear that my friends have liked them. I want to see that the star rating is pretty good. I'll usually browse a couple of reviews, and if there's not a lot of 2 or 3 star reviews, I'll usually buy it. But it doesn't scare me to buy a book with the thought that I could DNF it. I just don't want to waste my money, so I try and do a little bit more research on some of my books. But every now and then, you know, you walk into a bookstore and you just buy a bunch of them that you've never heard of, and that's okay too. That's okay too. And the last one is to tag some friends, but I'm not going to do that because this tag is so old and I need to wrap up this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this vlog was a little bit more interesting. I'm trying out b-roll. I forget to film that sometimes, but let me know if what I did include was fun and interesting to watch. But I think that's all that I'm going to say for this video. If you want to chat with me more, I have my Instagram and Discord linked in the description, and yeah, I will see you in my next video, which should be out very, very shortly. All right, bye.